Something sacred is about to return, and depending on how you show up, it will either bless you or expose you. This is not an exaggeration. In just a few hours, Venus, the planet of love, beauty, worth, and desire, enters Taurus, her home sign. And when the goddess of value comes home, everything you've been avoiding about your own value steps into the light. You're going to feel this shift, not in your mind, but in your body, your heart, your spending habits, your cravings, your boundaries, your silence, and your softness. Venus doesn't arrive with thunder. She arrives with a mirror, and if you're not ready to face it, this energy could leave you feeling more frustrated, more triggered, and more aware of what you don't have than ever before. But if you are ready, if you're willing to meet her with open arms and open eyes, this can be the beginning of a chapter where you finally start treating yourself like someone who deserves to receive, not just emotionally, but physically, financially, spiritually. Because Venus in Taurus isn't theory, it's embodiment. It's where love gets real, where pleasure isn't just imagined, it's lived. And here's where it gets even more real. There's a hidden test buried in this Venus transit that most people will fail. They'll miss it completely. They'll get distracted by the glitter and ignore the lesson. But in just a moment, I'll reveal what that test is, because once you see it, you can use it. And if you do, you win the whole season. Here's the truth most people don't realize. This could be a season of wealth, pleasure, love, and alignment, or it could be the moment you finally see just how much you've been betraying your own value. Every time you settled, every time you said yes to something that drained you, every time you undercharged, overgave, or called chaos chemistry. Venus doesn't judge that, but she does amplify it. And what she touches, she makes louder. That's why this moment is critical, because how you show up now sets the tone for the next few weeks. Are you going to rise into your worth or spiral into your cravings? Are you going to honor what your body and soul actually need, or are you going to keep patching it with temporary pleasure? Before we go deeper, take a second and do something that anchors this energy, like this video right now if you're ready to meet this version of Venus. Subscribe so you don't miss the rituals, insights, and moments of truth still to come, and drop the number 777 in the comments to signal to the universe and yourself that you're awake, aware, and ready to receive. Because in the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly what Venus in Taurus means for you. And once you see what she's bringing to the surface, you'll understand why this is not just another transit. It's a homecoming. And you're either about to be welcomed into the palace or reminded why you've been locked outside. Let's talk about what happens next. Chapter 1. What it means when Venus enters Taurus. When Venus enters Taurus, she's not just passing through another zodiac sign, she's coming home. This is her domain, her sanctuary, her throne room. Venus rules Taurus, which means the energy of this placement is pure, unfiltered, and magnified. And when a planet returns to its ruling sign, it doesn't come quietly. It comes with purpose. Imagine it like this. The Queen has been away, traveling through fiery, fast-moving territories. She's made her appearances, learned a few things, maybe even been challenged. But now she's stepping back into her palace, and she's not here to rest. She's here to restructure, to look around and say, what's beautiful, what's working, what needs to go. And she's asking you to do the same with your space, your relationships, your body, your worth, your money, your peace. Venus in Taurus brings an energy of sensuality, grounding, pleasure, and value, but not the fleeting kind, not the kind you chase in a rush and regret by morning. This is the energy of deep-rooted joy, the kind that lasts, the kind that lingers. Think slow mornings, silk sheets, rich food, skin-on-skin contact, music that moves through your body, not just your ears. This is the frequency of receiving, but only if what's coming in aligns with your standards. So you might be asking, what does this mean for me personally? Here's how you'll likely feel it. First, your awareness of comfort will go up. You'll start to notice everything that feels off in your space. Too loud, too rushed, too cluttered, too cold. Venus in Taurus wants softness, wants beauty. She wants you to feel held by your environment. If your home doesn't support your nervous system, you'll feel it now. It's time to beautify and stabilize your surroundings, not to impress anyone, but to nourish you. Second, your cravings will increase. Not just food or physical touch, but emotional cravings too. Connection, affection, security. You might find yourself wanting more, wanting deeper, wanting better. That's not a flaw. That's Venus waking up your worth. But here's the key. Don't chase the craving. Investigate it. Ask what it's really pointing to. Third, your finances and self-worth become linked more obviously than ever. Taurus rules money, possessions, and material stability. If you've been undercharging, overspending, or neglecting your financial health, this is the time it comes to the surface. Venus wants you to have nice things, but only when you believe you deserve them. And finally, your relationships shift, not with drama, but with clarity. The connections that feel rooted, calm, and mutually fulfilling will thrive. The ones based on noise, speed, or emotional volatility, they'll feel loud, uncomfortable, or even empty. Why? Because Venus in Taurus values peace over performance. She's not interested in chaos dressed as passion. So ask yourself, where in my life have I been too noisy to feel my own worth? Too fast to know what I really want? Too disconnected from my senses to notice what actually feels good? Venus isn't here to punish you. She's here to remind you of your softness, of your worth, of your power to create a reality that feels good to the skin and the soul. Like this video if you have not already, and hey, if you're ready to reclaim the parts of yourself you've been neglecting, subscribe and drop number 777 in the comments once again if you're opening the door because she's already walking in. And in the next section, you'll find out what that feels like in your body, your mind, and your heart. Chapter 2. What you might start feeling. Venus in Taurus doesn't arrive with a warning. She makes herself comfortable. She opens the curtains, lets the sun in, and pours herself a glass of wine from your emotional cabinet. She doesn't ask permission. She just sits there, on your couch, in your body, in your cravings, and softly asks, is this really the life you enjoy? That's when it starts. You begin to feel things deeply. Suddenly, the texture of your sheets matters. The smell of your space affects your mood. The food you eat either comforts your soul or irritates your senses. You may find yourself lingering longer in front of the mirror, not for vanity, but because something in you is asking to be seen. Why do you suddenly want more? More touch, more sweetness, more calm, more beauty, more attention, more intimacy, more softness? Because Venus is now tuning your senses like satellites. You're not going crazy. You're becoming aware. What you've been tolerating for months now becomes too loud to ignore. What used to feel fine now feels hollow. It's not because you're becoming needy. It's because you're finally feeling what your spirit has been starving for. But here's the truth. With heightened desire comes potential shadow. If you're not mindful, this surge of longing can lead to patterns that look like comfort, but are actually distractions. Maybe you overspend on things you don't truly value, thinking it'll fill the void. Maybe you get clingy in love, mistaking proximity for connection. Maybe you delay what matters most, telling yourself you deserve a break, when what you really need is alignment. That's the Venus trap, craving the surface when the soul is begging for something deeper. You might also feel jealous or possessive. You might compare your beauty to others. You might feel left out, like everyone else is enjoying something you can't access. That's Venus poking the wound of your inner worth, not to punish you, but to show you where your value system has been borrowed or broken. Venus in Taurus doesn't want you to fake abundance. She wants you to embody it. So if you're wondering why you suddenly want more of everything, it's because you've been living in limitation for too long. And now your senses are waking up from hibernation. This is not about greed. This is about grace. Venus in Taurus wants you to feel safe, being soft again, to stop apologizing for your desires, to come back to what it means to be human, to enjoy without guilt, to receive without proving, to slow down without shame. She doesn't want you to escape. She wants you to expand. And sometimes the first step to expansion is discomfort, because when your senses awaken, they don't just crave more, they also expose what's missing. They shine a light on the places you've been surviving instead of living. So if you're feeling restless, needy, overly indulgent, or suddenly emotional about things you thought you buried, good. You're right on time. Venus is home, and she's asking you, are you? Chapter 3, the hidden test no one talks about. This is the part most people miss. Everyone talks about the beauty Venus brings, the love, the luxury, the comfort, but almost no one talks about the test. And yes, every Venus transit carries one, especially when she's in Taurus, her home sign. Because while she's here to give, she's also here to check if you're giving to yourself. See, Venus isn't just the goddess of love, she's the mirror of self-worth. And the real energy she amplifies isn't just romance or money, it's how you treat yourself when no one's watching. This is the hidden test. Are you chasing validation, undercharging your skills, giving love to people who drain you, saying yes when your body screams no? Because if you are, Venus in Taurus won't just whisper it to you, she'll amplify it. She'll make the gap between what you want and what you accept feel painfully wide. It's like your soul develops a taste for gold, but your daily habits are still settling for copper. You walk into rooms that don't value you, and suddenly the silence is deafening. You scroll past lives that seem rich in love and ease, and it doesn't just make you jealous, it wakes you up. Because here's the secret no one tells you. Venus doesn't punish you for betraying your worth. She just makes it impossible to ignore. She'll show you everything you've been tolerating in the name of love. Every relationship you've begged to stay in. Every job you've stayed quiet in. Every dinner you've paid for, hoping your presence would finally be enough. But Venus in Taurus, she's not impressed by struggle. She's not moved by martyrdom. She doesn't reward those who suffer silently and smile through it. She rewards alignment. She blesses boundaries. She pours into those who pour into themselves first. So the question isn't, will she give you love, money, beauty, peace? The real question is, are you finally ready to give those things to yourself first? Because that's the test. And whether you pass or not won't be measured by how others treat you. It'll be measured by how you stop abandoning yourself. Chapter 4. What the universe is asking from you. Venus in Taurus doesn't just want you to receive beauty, she wants you to become it. And not in a shallow, surface-level way, but in a way that radiates from how you carry yourself, how you speak to yourself, how you let others treat you, and most importantly, how you treat yourself when no one else is watching. The universe, through this Venus transit, is not asking for performance, it's asking for presence. It's asking you to root into your value, not just talk about it. Because Taurus is an earth sign, and earth doesn't play in theory. Earth asks for proof, for action, for embodiment. So ask yourself, what makes me feel truly safe? Not just safe from danger, but safe to express, to rest, to be soft, to be seen without needing to perform or protect. Who are the people, the places, the choices that bring peace to your nervous system, not chaos to your emotions? Then ask, Where am I ignoring beauty, softness, or pleasure because I feel I haven't earned it? Because too many of us live like we have to bleed first before we're allowed to feel joy. But Venus doesn't work like that. She doesn't say, earn it. She says, honor it. And if your body is craving warmth, comfort, pleasure, it's not weakness. It's a message. It's your soul remembering what life is supposed to feel like. Now take it deeper. What's your emotional price, and who's been underpaying it? If someone else gave what you give, would you tolerate their paycheck? Would you applaud their silence? Would you stay in their place? Venus in Taurus is holding up the invoice, and she's asking, is it worth what it's costing you? Because at the end of the day, this transit isn't about luxury for the sake of indulgence. It's about luxury as a reflection of standards. It's not just treat yourself, it's treat yourself like someone you respect. That's the twist. It's not about buying more. It's about embodying more, carrying yourself like someone whose worth is already clear, already anchored, already owned. Venus in Taurus is not here to flirt with your potential. She's here to ground your worth in the real world, in your habits, in your choices, in your relationships. And if you're brave enough to claim that, she'll meet you with a life that finally feels as rich as you were meant to feel. Chapter 5. What you must do to align with Venus. If you want to align with Venus in Taurus, you don't just think about value, you start living like you believe in it. This is not a passive transit. It's subtle, yes, but it's powerful. And if you know what to do with it, you'll feel your whole life begin to shift, not overnight, but through small, grounded actions that ripple out like quiet magic. The first thing Venus wants from you, beautify your space. Not because aesthetics are shallow, but because your environment reflects what you believe about yourself. When you clean that room, light that candle, rearrange that corner to feel more you, you're not just decorating, you're declaring, I deserve to live in beauty, not chaos. Think of your space like soil. Would you plant seeds in dirt that's dry, cluttered, and cold, or in rich, soft, fragrant earth that welcomes growth? That's the metaphor. Your space holds your energy, so treat it with respect. Second, charge your worth. And this isn't just about money, it's about energy exchange. If you're offering your time, your presence, your creativity, your love, you need to make sure it's being valued. Money mirrors energy. If you underprice yourself, you're telling the universe, this is all I believe I'm worth. Venus doesn't want you to hustle harder. She wants you to receive smarter. Align your rates, your time, your emotional labor with your real value. If it feels too low, it probably is. Third, rest with purpose. This is not laziness. This is luxurious recovery. Taurus energy doesn't sprint, it sustains. And part of sustaining your power is knowing when to slow down, recharge, and savor. Resting isn't quitting, it's trusting. It's knowing you don't have to be constantly performing to prove your value. You just have to be present enough to protect it. And finally, say no to what doesn't nourish. Boundaries aren't harsh, they're Venusian, they're love in action. When you say no to chaos, to disrespect, to energy that drains instead of replenishes, you're not pushing people away, you're creating space for the right things to grow. Because remember, you're planting seeds now, of love, worth, money, joy. And seeds don't grow in desperation, they grow in care, in nourishment, in the decision to not settle. So start today. Align your world with what you want to feel, and Venus will meet you halfway, every single time. Chapter 6. What happens if you ignore it? Venus in Taurus is not loud, she doesn't scream, she doesn't force. But if you ignore her, she will reflect you, not your fantasy self, not your social mask, but the parts of you that are still living in scarcity, insecurity, and self-abandonment. She becomes a mirror, and in that mirror, you will either see radiance or you will be forced to confront where you've been leaking your power. Because this is the hard truth. If you don't choose what you're worth, life will mirror what you've settled for. Not as punishment, but as clarity. Ignore this energy and it won't disappear. It will just twist. You may start overspending, buying things not out of joy, but out of emotional emptiness. You'll feel urges to indulge, to consume, to fill a void that doesn't need things, it needs truth. And the worst part, no matter what you buy, it won't feel like enough. Because it was never about the object. It was about the lack of alignment within you. Or maybe you won't spend money, but you'll spend energy on people who don't return it, on love that feels like waiting rooms, on conversations that drain instead of feed you. And you'll wonder, why do I feel so tired when all I did was try to connect? Because energy given without boundaries is energy that gets stolen. Some will numb through pleasure, binging food, shows, distractions, confusing comfort with avoidance. But just because something feels good in the moment doesn't mean it's nourishing you. There's a difference between treating yourself and escaping yourself. Venus knows the difference. And here's the warning. What you avoid during this transit, what you refuse to feel, change, acknowledge, becomes what controls you. That's the fear, but also the truth. You're not being threatened. You're being invited to grow, to rise, to meet your own value face to face. This isn't about perfection. It's about presence. Venus doesn't want to expose your wounds just to hurt you. She wants to light them up so you can stop pretending they don't exist, so you can stop numbing and start nourishing. So if you've been tempted to ignore this shift, don't, because what you choose not to face now will show up again, louder, and next time it might cost even more. Chapter 7. The real reason you were meant to hear this now. You didn't just land on this video, you were sent here, and not by accident, but by alignment. Something in your spirit has been whispering for a while now. Maybe it sounded like, is this all there is? Maybe it was the quiet ache after giving your all and getting crumbs. Or maybe it was that heaviness in your body that said, I'm tired of surviving, I want to feel safe. That whisper, that was your root chakra speaking, and this Venus in Taurus transit. It's a direct message to that part of you. This energy is activating the very foundation of your being, your root, the part of you tied to survival, security, safety, touch, sensuality, and physical value. It's the chakra of presence. And when it's out of balance, everything else shakes. Your finances, your relationships, your body, your voice. And here's the spiritual truth most people never hear. You are not asking for too much. You've just been asking from places that give too little. You've been trying to find safety in people who are unstable, trying to find love in situations that require you to abandon yourself, trying to find peace in environments that only know pressure. This Venus energy isn't here to shame you for that. It's here to realign you, to say, you were never meant to live in survival mode. You were never meant to second-guess your worth. You were never meant to shrink just to fit into someone else's version of enough. Think of it like this. You've been living like a guest in your own palace, careful not to take up too much space, quietly walking around the rooms of your own value as if they belonged to someone else. But Venus, she came home to remind you, it's yours, your pleasure, your peace, your softness, your right to say no, your right to say yes, your right to stop performing and simply be. This isn't just astrology. This is a mirror moment, and it's asking, are you ready to come home to yourself? Because once you do, everything changes, not instantly, but fully and permanently. The version of you that begs dies, the version that owns rises. So here we are. If you've made it this far, it's not just because you're curious, it's because something in you is ready. ready to stop pretending that burnout is bravery, ready to stop performing for love that should have been free, ready to stop shrinking to fit into a version of life that you've already outgrown. Venus in Taurus isn't just a cosmic event, it's a homecoming. And not just for her, for you. Because you don't manifest from pressure, you manifest from pleasure, from grounded worth, from a yes that comes from joy, and a no that comes from knowing. This is not about indulgence, it's about intention. Every desire you've pushed aside because you thought it was too much. Every rest you skipped because you thought you had to earn it. Every dream you paused because life got too loud. Bring them back. Reclaim them. Because Venus is home now. And so are you. This is your chance to make a shift. Not out of fear, not out of desperation, but out of devotion. To yourself, to your body, to your value. She's not here to judge you. She's here to elevate you, but only if you show her you're ready. So here's your final charge. Stop calling struggle your normal. Stop letting underpayment, emotionally, energetically, financially, be your baseline. Start walking like someone whose love is a gift, like someone whose peace isn't for sale, like someone who doesn't need to convince, chase, or beg. Just be. Be the version of you that knows, I am the palace, I am the soil, I am the treasure. And if that version is rising in you now, let her rise fully. Like this video to seal the energy. Subscribe if you're claiming this new chapter, and drop the number 777 in the comments to tell the universe, I'm ready to upgrade how I love, how I spend, how I rest, and how I receive. Because this isn't just about Venus. This is about you. The version of you that's not coming. She's here, and she's not asking anymore. She's receiving.